Namaskara. Good evening to one and all. Namaskara from Yogabharati. Welcome all of you to day 4 of Navarathri Kathotsav. So let us start by closing our eyes. Adopt Chin Mudra in your hands. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your back straight as much as possible. Still your body. Connect to your breath. Watch your breath. Let your mind settle. Let us start with 3 rounds of Ahankara. Inhale deeply. Both your palms together in Namaskar Mudra. Let us chant Sahana Vavatu. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Let us together be nourished. Let us together be protected. Let there be no conflicts. Let our study be brilliant, full of energy and vigor. Let there be peace within us, around us, and in the whole of the universe. As we invoke divine grace, let us do Namaskar with an absolute sense of surrender to the Almighty and start day 4 of Katha series. So today we will be looking at the eternal villain. Yes, the eternal villain. Eternal means at all times, at all places. Okay.
Excuse me, Bala. Your
Yes.
light is shifted, so you're a little darker.
Okay. No. Yes.
No, it's okay. Please
Yeah,
continue.
we'll continue. Okay, so the eternal villain, let us start off. We call it as Ahankar. Yeah, so Ahankar is the villain, why is it the villain? We will look at it through the stories of 2 characters today. First, we will look at the Shanana Ravana. Yes. So Ravana is the very important character in Ramayana, right? So Ravana was born in actually a very noble lineage. Okay, so his grandfather was Brahmaji himself. Yes, and Brahma's son Pulastya Maharishi is Ravana's grandfather. Great grandfather was Brahmaji. Ravana's grandfather was Pulastya Maharishi, and Pulastya's son Vishravas. Okay, and he's a rishi. Okay, and Kaikasi is a Rakshasi. Okay, so Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Vibhishana, and Shurpanaka were born to both of them, Vishravas and Kaikasi. Okay, so Ravana is a combination of the qualities of a rishi, because we know that we have heard that he was a Vedic scholar. He had learnt all the four Vedas. He had mastered the Shastras and the 64 art forms and whatnot. He had mastered it, so head heavy Ravana was. That he had taken from the qualities from his father, its paternal side. And how he used all this became very Asuric. So that was from his maternal side. So let us see Ravana, how he uses the tremendous knowledge that he had. Yes, Ravana was a great bhakta. We have heard that, right? So, great bhakta meaning one quality that he had in him was the power of concentration. Yes, ekagrata. He could just focus on something for a very long time. Yeah, and that gave him that tapasya shakti. So, he was a great bhakta of Shiva, we have heard. Yeah, so as Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana grow up, Kaikasi, right? Kaikasi is their mother. So he says, come on, sons, go and do tapasya, get all powers from the devas. Okay, and then we will see how you can use your powers. So they listen to their mother, and Ravana does tapasya to Brahmaji. Yeah, so he gets after a kadam tapasya, we say, no, a very ghor. And then Brahmaji was like, oh my God, you are bringing in so much of focus and so much and all that, so much of energy is. And let me, what is it that you want? I'm pleased by your tapasya. I'm ready to grant you boon. Brahmaji is Ravana's great grandfather, right? So he says that. So Ravana says, I want to be immortal. Brahmaji says, that is not possible. I cannot give you that boon right away. So you can ask in a roundabout way. So Ravana says, I should not be destroyed by any Asura, any Deva, any Gandharva, or any of the celestial beings, any Garuda or Danavas, whatever, all of them. I should not be destroyed by any of them, is what Ravana says. Brahmaji asks him, what about Manava? Manava means human beings. What about Manavas? What about Banars, monkeys? And Ravana says, oh, they are puny people. No danger can come to me because of them. Just grant me the boon that I should not be destroyed by all these. Brahmaji says, tathastu. Yeah. So Ravana becomes very arrogant. He thought that he is the controller of everything. Okay. He is the pati. They say, controller of everything. He becomes very arrogant because of the boon that he gets from Brahma. He thinks he is invincible. Nobody can destroy him. So that's how his arrogance is growing in him, in spite of his Vedic knowledge. Yeah, this is how he's putting it into use. So after he's got so much powers, Kaikasi says, why, Kubera was Ravana's half brother. So they both share the same father. Okay. And the Rishi, same father, but Kubera's mother was Mandakini. So she was also a Deva. So Kubera was a good person, you can say. Okay. The one with majorly good qualities. So Ravana, Kubera was actually the king of Swarna Lanka, the Lanka. We all think Ravana was Lankapati, right? No, Kubera was actually had built Swarna Lanka, and Kubera was ruling it. So because Kaikasi told, how long you, my sons, have to be under control of Kubera? Go defeat him and take control over Swarna Lanka. So Ravana, who was actually born in somewhere today's Bihar, okay? So there he was born, and he comes down to conquer, to take, to snatch the Swarna Lanka from Kubera. And that is how he gets the Lanka. It is not that Ravana builds Lanka on his own. Okay, but okay, because of his yogic powers and all that, he was able to overpower even Kubera. And then Ravana says, nobody should give ashraya, means what? Protect. Nobody should give any kind of shelter to Kubera or even his followers. All of them will go to Yamalok if anybody gives that. Okay, this is the kind of order that Ravana gives. And Ravana had actually taken control over all the three worlds. Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, we say, the Devas, the Asuras, everybody was under the control of Ravana. So Ravana was becoming powerful, using all his powers only to satisfy him. Yeah, that is called Abhimana. Yeah. And Ravana, yes, he of course continues to be a Shiva Bhakta, meaning he was constantly focusing all his mind powers to Shiva, Lord Shiva. Okay. So at home he had a good huge idol of Shiva, and he wanted a very huge Shivalinga at home. So what he does, he thinks, okay, let me go and take Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash is the biggest Shivalinga, and let me bring it home. Look at the arrogance he has, no? And he goes and he lifts, actually, because of his yogic powers that he has acquired, he does have all that. So he lifts Mount Kailash. Okay. Once he lifts, who is in Mount Kailash? Lord Shiva himself, right? He just uses his big toe and presses the Kailash. So what happens? The Kailash mountain goes down and it is back in its place safe. But who is under it now? Ravana is there and he roars loudly. He just roars in pain. And then he's also a Shiva Bhakta. Somewhere his energies are focused to Shiva, right? So he starts chanting the Shiva Tandava Stotram. And it is said that he plucked his nerve and he started playing Veena. So he actually was so good in music also. So he does that. And because of that Shiva Tandava Stotram, Shiva's energy, Shiva's heart melts. And then he says, okay, Ravana, he brings him out and he blesses Ravana with a linga, Go Linga, it is called. Okay. So homework for all of you, go and find out more about Golinga and where do we find this Golinga today in India. Okay. Ravana wanted to take it to Lanka, but he was not successful in that. And we have it here. Okay, go find out. Go ask Google Mata, she will give you. Okay, so this Ravana was getting very powerful. Okay, he thought that he is invincible and he gets the control of all the planets. Okay, he would dictate how the planetary positions should be. And it is said that when his son Meghnath was born, he wanted all the planets to get into a position which is so auspicious that death cannot near Meghnath. But Shani, Saturn alone refuses, and that is another story. Okay, so today you will have a lot of homework to go and read about it. So Ravana, with all his yogic powers, he is taking control over all the worlds, yeah, including planets and devas and asuras, and his arrogance knows no bounds. He thinks, I am invincible, I control all the three worlds. So he is like that. So as the arrogance increases, Ravana also had another weak point. Okay, it was his lust. Okay, lust meaning his desires which are very, very lowly desires. Okay, so this one day, as he was going in the forest, he sees a beautiful lady doing a tapasya. The lady name was Vedavati. Okay, Vedavati was an incarnation of Lakshmi herself, and she, in that human form, Vedavati, was actually doing tapasya to marry Lord Vishnu. She was in union with Vishnu in her mind. At that time, Ravana approaches Vedavati. Okay, and without her consent, he disturbs her, and Vedavati gets completely disturbed. She gets very disturbed because her tapasya with Vishnu is being disturbed, right? So she gets angry, she gets agitated, and she says, hey Ravana, you have disturbed my tapasya, and I was completely in union with my Lord Vishnu, and you have come and disturbed it. Now I curse you. Your destruction will happen because of a woman. And this lust, will actually be the reason for your downfall. And if one more thing she says is, if you touch anybody, okay, any woman without her consent, your head will split into 1,000 pieces and you will die there. This is the curse that she gives. And after giving that curse, she, with her yogic powers, she gives up her body. Okay, she goes into the fire. So Ravana was little taken aback by this curse. Okay, he was by till that time, thinking he's invincible and all that. He did get a little disturbed. He was scared, But that did not stop him from doing all sorts of lowly acts, which led to his own destruction. So we know what did he do? We know the woman because of whom Ravana's, it's not actually because of the woman, it is because of Ravana's lust only. But then the woman was the instrument there, right? So who was that? Sita Mata. We did see about Sita Mata, right? So everything is happening so beautifully. Look at the direction of divine, everything is coming together. Ravana is getting so powerful, and Ravana is now cursed by a lady, that a woman will be an instrument, a reason for your death. And Ravana now, because of Shurpanaka, he goes and brings Sita Mata to Ashokavatika, right? So there he tortures her, humiliates her, does all that which we saw yesterday. And who comes there to kind of, bring in that happiness and joy in Sita Mata? We saw Hanumanji, right? So Hanumanji had come to Ashokavatika. And after he had met with Sita Mata, he was very hungry. So he goes to the Ashokavatika, and Sita Mata says, there are many fruits here, Hanuman, go and enjoy, have food, how much ever you want. So Hanumanji goes and, he just ransacks the whole Ashokavatika. Ashokavatika was so dear to Ravana. And some messenger comes and says, there is a monkey which has come and it is ransacking your favorite garden, my lord. And then Ravana orders, go bring him here. A lot of people go, and even Akshay Kumara, Ravana's own son, goes, and he gets killed by Hanumanji. And then finally Meghnad, Indrajit, goes, and he puts Nagastra on Hanuman. But Hanumanji wanted to meet Ravana. Okay, by that time he decided in his mind, let me meet this, this Lankapati. Let me see face to face. I want to meet him. So Hanumanji himself gets trapped in Indrajit's Nagastra, and he is brought to Ravana's court. So in Ravana's court, look at the way Hanumanji was not offered seat. So what he does, he increases the length of his tail, and he sits on at the same height as Ravana. And Ravana asks, the moment he sees Hanumanji, he asks 3 questions. Ravana asks, hey, who are you, man? Why have you come here? Who are you? Who sent you here? Do you know who I am? Okay, these are the 3 questions Ravana asks. Hanumanji replies beautifully. For all the 3, he replies one answer. He first addresses the second question. What was the second question Ravana asks? Who has sent you here? So Hanumanji says, the Lord of the whole universe. Yes, the Lord who is protecting me and who is protecting even you. You are thinking you are the Lord of the universe, no? The one who is protecting you, he has sent me here, oh Ravana. And then he says, so he has answered the first question also. I am sent by the Lord. So I am his messenger. That is the answer to the first question. And then, do you know who I am? Ravana asks, right? So Hanumanji says, oh, I know all of us are the creations of the Lord, and we are playing the role as we are meant to play here. You are being controlled by the Lord only. So everything was around Bhagwan for Hanuman, whatever answer he gave. And Ravana was in no mood to listen to all this. All his thoughts were only about him, right? So much of Abhiman he had, love for himself all the time. So he said, what is this monkey saying? Blabbering something. Now put fire in the monkey's tail. And all that happens. And finally, Hanumanji leaves Lanka majestically, putting fire throughout in Lanka and announcing that, my Prabhu Sri Ram is going to come, and this whole of Asura clan is awaiting destruction. Yeah. After Hanumanji leaves Lanka, all the Asuras, the Rakshasas were actually very scared. They all were seeing, oh my God, if a messenger of somebody is so powerful, has destroyed half of Lanka and has killed Akshay Kumara, Ravana's son. Oh my God, and he could talk face to Lankapati like that. Then how would, Prabhu Sri Ram himself be? I think, the Rakshasas were talking. The destruction of Lanka has come. I think Lankapati is also going to get destroyed, and we all are going to go. Everybody, was getting scared. That fear was instilled in everybody's mind. So Ravana did have spies, right? Those days, Rajas used to have spy who would go and find out what prajas were thinking about the kingdom and all that. So Ravana calls and he says, the spies, go find out what everybody is talking. But the spies come back and say, everything is fine, everything is fine. Because they are very scared of Ravana. So nobody, not even the ministers, were ready to counsel Ravana, because they know if anything, even a small voice against him, then Ravana would kill them, right? So nobody was ready to, even though everybody knows. But then one person who would counsel him constantly was his wife, Mandodari. Okay, she is also one of the Panchamahakanyas. So Mandodari counsels Ravana. She says, "Oh Ravana, please see the truth. Because of your arrogance, because of all the thoughts that you have in your mind about yourself only, you're not seeing the truth. The one Sita who is here is wife of Prabhu Sri Rama, who is an avatar of Hari himself. Please know, and Sita Mata, please return Sita to Rama now only. Otherwise, we will definitely see the destruction of our whole of Rakshasa Kula." But Ravana was not ready to listen to Mandodari. He just laughs and he says, "Ha, what are you talking? These silly human beings and Vanars will come and kill me. Do you even know the power of me? And you're talking like this. You're the Prativrata and you don't even know power of your Pati. Ah, go, Mandodari. Don't talk like this. And, the whole of Lanka, let us wait for a jubilation and celebration. Lanka is going to have a wonderful feast," says Ravana. What it means is all these Rakshasas would eat human beings and Vanaras. They were their food. So Ravana was saying, all of them will come here and we will eat them. They are our food. And you're talking something. Go, go. And then Ravana dismisses Mandodari's counsel. And Ravana dismisses Vibhishana's also. Vibhishana also counsels Ravana. He says, "Return Sita Mata right away, Ravana." But you know what? Ravana actually kicks out Vibhishana. He says, "Get out of my kingdom. How dare you talk to me like this against me in my kingdom, eating my food?" Everything is mine for Ravana, right? That is why everything is completely blinded for it. He is just not able to see the truth. So, as Ravana's Ahankara is increasing, he is not listening to anybody. Okay, even those few who dared to counsel Ravana, no, nothing happens. So, what happens next? Dharma Yuddham. Yeah. So Rama's army comes to Lanka, and there is this Yuddha to establish Dharma, right? So we know, right? Rama kills, completely slays Ravana. So before Ravana, very interesting thing is all the Asuras, Dhumraksha, Kampana, Prahasta, Kumbhakarna, all of them, okay, Meghnath, everybody were destroyed by Rama. I would like to pause here. There is a beautiful message that all of us can learn here. So Ravana is the full manifestation of Ahankara, ego, right? If we have to destroy ego, we surrender to Bhagwan, and Bhagwan helps us in destroying the smaller egos, like, those that are feeding the ego. Dhumraksha, Kampana, Prahasa, those all were the strengths of Ahankara, Ravana, right? So all these, for us also, if you look at it, we do have a lot of things that feed our ego. See, I am very good at, I'm very good in mathematics. I'm first rank. I get always, first rank, and I get high paid jobs very easily. All these things, all these thoughts feed our ego, feed our Ahankara. So when we surrender to the divine, what happens? When we say Jai Ram, Jai Shri Ram. So Rama first slowly destroys these small thoughts which are feeding the ego, and finally the ego gets weakened and it destroys by itself. So Bhagavan Sri Ram destroys Ravana, and here Ravana in his deathbed. Yeah. So the beauty is Bhagavan Sri Ram sends Sumitra Nandan Lakshmana to ask, go ask from Ravana. He is a great Shiva Bhakta. He's a Vedic scholar, so he knows, he has so much knowledge. So those in the deathbed, get some parting message from him. So Lakshmana obeys Bhagavan Sri Ram. So immediately he goes and asks for the parting message. The beautiful it is, Ravana says, "Oh, Sumitra Nandan, you know what I have learned? Two things. One is never procrastinate any good thought that comes to you." So Ravana had actually thought about building, steps for noble people to reach heaven. He wanted everybody, actually, not only noble, everybody to go to heaven. That was a very noble thought, right? But then he did not act on it. But then he says that is one thing. And always procrastinate any idea that you think, is not okay for you. When you get that idea, somewhere that antaryami, the inner conscience tell you that this is not right. So listen to that and do not act. But what did I do? I got the idea of abducting Sita. I did that immediately. So in a fret of moment. So never act on any bad thought that comes to you, and procrastinate basically that, and never procrastinate, never postpone any good thought. This was a very nice parting message that Lakshmana receives from Ravana. Yeah, so this is how Ravana is completely slayed. But a very important aspect here is Ravana, before he leaves his body, he looks at Bhagwan Ram, and Ravana gets the darshan of Mahavishnu before he leaves the body. So this was a big question in my mind. Ravana, he has lived a life of an asura with so much of arrogance, destroying so many good people, creating trouble to a lot of people, and in spite of it, before he leaves his body, he gets darshan of Vishnu. Wow, what is this? So this is where we get to understand that there is a whole picture behind everything that we see. Yeah, the whole picture here is Ravana was actually a very noble soul. He was the guard, one of the guards in Vaikunta, Jaya Vijaya. Okay, so one day what happens? Brahmaji's the four babies that you see, they are Brahmaji's children. Okay, Sanat Kumaras. They come to visit Vishnu, Mahavishnu. But then Jaya Vijaya stopped them. They say, "Oh, you guys, Mahavishnu is resting. You people cannot go now. Please wait until Mahavishnu comes." So Sanat Kumaras were like, "Oh, you people are stopping us. Do you know who we are? We want to see Mahavishnu. And at the gate of Vaikunta we have come. And how can somebody stop us like that?" And then because of this act, Sanat Kumara say, "Because you doubted us, you will go and you will have to go take birth on earth. Okay, and you cannot be in Vaikunta." That doubting quality, that doubting quality is not for someone who can be in Vaikunta. So then Jaya and Vijaya, they get very disturbed. They are thinking, "Oh my God, what is this kind of curse has been fallen on us?" And then they ask Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu says, "Yes, Jaya Vijaya, you both take the birth. So I give you two choice. 6 births you take in Bhuloka on earth, okay, as good people, noble people, devotees of me, okay, and then you come back. Or you take 3 births on earth, okay, and as asuras, and you will be against me all the time. You will not even believe in God. You will be so arrogant. 3 births you take, and after 3 births, you can come back to me." So after hearing this, Jaya Vijaya, they say, oh, we want to come back to you as soon as possible. So 3 births are okay. So one of that birth is Ravana. So the first one that they take is Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. Okay. And the next one is Ravana, Kumbhakarna. And then it is Shishupala and Dantavakra in Krishna Avatara. So in all these three, all the three, their body is being slayed by Vishnu Mahavishnu himself. So if you look at it, Ravana was indeed a noble soul, right? We never know about this part of Ravana. So a very, very important takeaway message for all of us is what we see through our eyes, what we understand is not the whole picture. It is only a part of it. So just by having a part of knowledge, let us not come to any judgments about people. Let us not come to any conclusion about people. Yeah. And surrender to Mahavishnu, who is actually um, you know the supreme, the one who is conducting all these leela and probably enjoying. So let us surrender to him, truly accept ourselves and everything in this world as it is. That is true surrender. Yeah. So with this thought, let me finish this Ahankara, how it manifested in Treta Yuga. Now we will move on to the same Ahankara, how it manifested in Dwapara Yuga, that during the period of Krishna. Oh my God, that is, we will be taken over by Prabha. Thank you.
Namaste to all of you. Good evening. So we all heard the story of Ravana, isn't it? So usually in the Navarathri Kathotsav, when Ravana is told, we always have this Ravana laugh. So, but in online, I'm feeling a little, there is a little shyness coming there. But I hope that all of you laugh loudly as an Asura. It just helps you to lose your inhibition. So now let's all move on to Duryodhana here. We just do wait for a few minutes, 2 seconds. So Duryodhana, a very, very interesting character here. Okay, so I hope all of you are able to see this. So Duryodhana's parents, Gandhari and Dhritarashtra as parents. So I don't want to go to all the, the birth, the history of. Let me see. Somebody has written a message. I hope I may have seen. So Gandhari was a very beautiful princess of Gandhar. So somewhere in Afghanistan, and she married the Kuru prince named Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra was blind. And both of them got married, and I don't want to go into the story of that. And it was time for Gandhari, to give birth to baby, and she was blessed by Vedavyasa. And Vedavyasa blessed her that you would be blessed with 100 sons, and they would be fantastic warriors and Kshatriyas. So Gandhari was very happy. She got pregnant. She waited for 2 years, and finally, she gave birth to a lump of flesh. And this lump of flesh, she was so worried about it, the lump of flesh. And then Guru Vyasa came, Veda Vyasa came, and then he said, "Don't worry, just bring 100 pots of ghee, and I'll sprinkle, I would give you sons, don't worry." And Gandhari, in her mind, she felt that let me also have one daughter. I also want one daughter. So, and Veda Vyasa immediately read her mind and says, "Don't worry, I will give you one daughter also." And that's how Duryodhana and his brothers, 99 brothers, and Dushala, his sister, were born in this thoughts. And the moment Duryodhana was born, he was the eldest person, and a lot of ill omens, the evil omens came. And Gandhari and Dhritarashtra were so excited to see Duryodhana. But there were a lot of the howling of wolves and crows cocking, and lot of thunderstorm and cyclones and all are coming. Vidura went and told Dhritarashtra, telling him that see Dhritarashtra, see there a lot of evil omens are seen. So it looks like the elder son, he's not good for the progress of this Kuru race. It's important that you to take him away. It's important that he is being taken away and not being brought up in this kingdom, not being brought up in this family. But Dhritarashtra, in the birth of Duryodhana itself, was so attached to his son that he said, "No, whatever happens, I am going to keep it." And that was how Duryodhana and his 99 brothers, as well as his sister Dushala, were born amidst all these warnings which was given by the universe that Duryodhana is a person who is going to bring about the destruction of this race. And several years passed by. Duryodhana was very, very happy. In his kingdom, he was very happy. He was brought up very well. He was, he was so pampered by his father, pampered by his mother, and that whatever he asked for, it will be given, because the father had all his hopes. Dhritarashtra was a person who was always dissatisfied. He was dissatisfied with everything. He was blind, so he was always blaming situations around, always saying that, "Oh, I am blind. What can I do? What can I do? I am blind. So this is how it is. This is my fate. This is my fate." He had other things there, but he was not at all grateful for that. And his brother was crowned the king, but after that he was crowned because his brother passed away. Even then he was dissatisfied, saying that, "Oh, I'm only a proxy. I'm not actually the king. See what will happen to my children? Yudhishthira is born, and Yudhishthira will become the king. What can I do? What will happen to my son? So my son will not be the king. There's all these things. This is how he had brought up. He had sown the seed in Duryodhana. See, that's why parents play such an important role. If we sow a seed, such a negative seed in the into a child, whether in the womb or when the child is growing up, and that child grows up with these samskaras, with these thoughts in the mind, and that kind of blossoms to something more negative. And when the Pandavas came, Duryodhana was not at all happy. Not at all happy, because Kunti and the Pandavas came when Pandu passed away. And they came to Hastinapur. And when they came to Hastinapur, Duryodhana was not happy. And especially, he had enmity with one person. And you all know who's that person. He had enmity with Bhima. And this Bhima, Bhima was supposed to be very, very strong. The strength of a 10,000 elephant is supposed to be, they say, right? So, but he was born with such strength, the son of Vayu, born with such strength that he always used to do, mischief with the brothers of Duryodhana. He used to beat them, bully them little bit out of all this childishness, But Duryodhana was not at all happy. He was, he didn't like the Pandavas, first of all, coming to Hastinapur. He was not fond of Duryodhana. He was not fond of Arjuna, who's getting the love of Bhishmacharya, his grandfather. And, his father was also not happy. And that vibration was also passed on to Duryodhana. And one day, Duryodhana tried his level best to somehow, from as a child itself, he had these destructive thoughts that I have to, eliminate these Pandavas. And he had this destructive thought, especially to the Bhima, because he wanted that Bhima to be, rid of, because he felt two most important enemies in Pandavas. That is, one is Bhima and one is Arjuna. And he felt that these two, if they are eradicated, then the Pandavas are not at all weak. And he could rule the kingdom, because Yudhishthira, he considered himself that, yeah, he is a Dharma Purusha, but he is a little weaker. And I can overrule him, and I can dominate him, and I can become the king. So the Kauravas, the Kuru princes, all the Pandavas, the Kauravas, all of them tutored under Dronacharya. Dronacharya was a guru, and they took their lessons very wonderfully. Even then, during the Kurukula also, this enmity was going on. And Duryodhana tried his best. Once, he wrapped Bhima and pushed him into he gave poison to Bhima and wrapped him up in a tight rope and pushed him inside, the ocean. But you know what happens? That is a leela of God. Even you want to do bad things to good people, but it sometimes happens good only. Bhima, what happened? He actually reached the Naga kingdom, and he got wonderful nectar there, and he got the strength of 10,000 elephants. And that actually Bhima became much more stronger. So now the tournament happens. That is, their lessons were over. So that is like the exam there. It was like, all the people of Hastinapur had come there to see. And all the Kuru princes, the Pandavas, the Kauravas, they all need to be wanting to show their skill to the Raja, to Bhishma Acharya, to Vidura, to their mother, and to all the the praja, the people of Hastinapur. They are all eager to see the Kuru princes. And as usual, in that place itself, Bhima and Duryodhana had a fight. They fight to such an extent that they will not stop. Somebody has to come in between. And Duryodhana, goes into a rage always when he fights with Bhima. And suddenly, when Arjuna was starting to show his skill, and suddenly a huge clap starts coming, and the clap of thunder, everyone was starting to look at the gate of the tournament place, and who's coming? A young man. And I would go into more detail about this young man later in the next session. But this young man comes and says that, Arjuna, you are thinking that you can do all these skills. I can do much better than you. I am a better archer than you. You want me to see how I'm doing? And he shows all the things which Arjuna does. All the things Arjuna had, done so many different archery skills, and all the skills were shown by this young man. And Duryodhana was absolutely excited. And suddenly Arjuna said, "Who are you? You are uninvited, and you're coming here. Who are you here? How can you even come here?" And this young man, who was shining like the Surya himself, was saying that, Why? Is this a family tournament? You are showing all these things. I am also coming to show. And that time, this thing was interfered by the Kulguru Kripacharya. And he said, they all asked him, who are you? Are you are you a prince? Are you a son of a king? Are you from any kingdom? Tell me, which royal family you are even? And only a royal family or only a prince can have a challenge with a prince. This is Arjuna. And at that time, Duryodhana, immediately took the opportunity. He said, then okay, I will crown him as a king of Anga. He will be the Anga Raja and he would fight. And where he was crowned immediately by Duryodhana immediately took all the coronation and crowned him. And so this is very important for us to know that this is how the friendship between Radeya is Karna, okay, Radeya and Duryodhana started. Because Radeya was so much filled with gratitude and he asked Duryodhana, tell me, Duryodhana, what can I do for you for this? How can I repay my debt? And Duryodhana says, I want your friendship, I want your heart. And Radeya says, I've already given. And this formed a very important relationship there. And here, Duryodhana was always, manipulating his father. Father had that weakness to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana knew that. So he was not at all happy with the Pandavas, what all happening with the Pandavas. And he was not at all happy that Yudhishthira, this is Yudhishthira, and this is the blind king Dhritarashtra. And Duryodhana was always insecure that Yudhishthira might become the king, and he was always taunting his father. And father also had a weak spot. He also didn't want Yudhishthira to be the king. So that was going on happening. And he also had who as a companion or who as a guide. When people having bad thoughts are there, and suddenly a friend also with having such bad thoughts join along, then what happens? It adds to fire. And this is what Shakuni. Shakuni had his own reasons to destroy the Kuru race. He joined along with this young, vibrant personality Duryodhana, and he thought this is the man who could bring along the destruction of the Kuru race. And he was a person who was giving lots of ideas. He showed as if he's supporting Duryodhana. He guided him. He says, you do this, you do that, because Shakuni's mind is like a brilliant mind. So that's what the problem is. When sometimes we are brilliant, but when you channel it in the wrong way, then look what happens. The downfall happens. That's what Shakuni did, and that's what Duryodhana. Duryodhana is such a mighty warrior, fantastic personality, but he got carried away with all these, tinge of jealousy. And with the help of Shakuni, lots of things he did. He planned, to even kill the Pandavas in Varanavata. He even made a palace made with the wax, made sure that Pandavas go there, and he tried to kill them, tried to put fire there, but Pandavas were always, having that divine guidance. They had that divine, protection there, and somehow or the other, they were always protected. In Draupadi Savayamvara, what happened? Duryodhana also went because he is a prince, so he also goes along with lots of prince goes. Jayadratha, everyone goes because Draupadi is supposed to be a beauty. She's so beautiful that everyone had an eye to have her as a wife. As his wife, and Draupadi's father had put a rule, a nice game, also a game, I would say, kind of a challenge, and that challenge Duryodhana was not able to do. And finally, who won the challenge? Arjuna, his own enemy. Arjuna took up the challenge, and he won the hand of Draupadi, and Draupadi became the wife of all the Pandavas. And this time, when they came back to Hastinapur, because after all the wax palace fire and all, when they came back, again, Duryodhana is so upset. Duryodhana, always goes into a rage. That is his nature. There is always rage within him. And what he did finally, with all these discussions, so much of discussions happening around, and finally his father, Dhritarashtra, again, Dhritarashtra is a person who wants everything, but he will not convey it. He was like an hypocrite. That was the problem of Dhritarashtra. But Duryodhana is not like that. He also wants, but he will say what he wants also. And he will do things which can be bad or which can be absolutely, in the lowest scale as possible. That is the level which Duryodhana can go to that an extent when he grew up. And finally, what was given to the Pandavas? A barren land like Kandava Prastha, was the land which was owned by the ancestors of Kurus. And this is the land was given. Do you think it is fair? And Duryodhana didn't feel that it was unfair. He felt that it is so much fair. My God, we are giving this much itself is such a big. And but through the grace of Lord Krishna, through the grace of Bhagavan Krishna, that Kandava Prastha, how it became Indraprastha. It became a place which can be even, a place which can be ruled by the Indra Devata itself. That is through the grace of Indra, through the grace of Bhagavan Krishna, it became such a beautiful green city there. And so many people came to stay there. And Yudhishthira, what did he conduct? He conducted the Rajasuya Yajna, supposed to be the topmost yajna, which where he could be told as the emperor of of India, emperor of that place. And when Duryodhana came, do you think he's going to like all that? Oh my God, he was filled with jealousy. He couldn't see, he couldn't even, smile the entire yajna itself. That was the level of jealousy in his, you see, could see the fire burning inside him when he was looking at all the grandeur of the palace. And the palace was so grand, because it was built by Maya, the Asura himself. So it was beautifully studded with jewels and lot of different interesting things were put in the Sabha hall itself. The Duryodhana was absolutely in shock to see what is this. And there were so many things which are there. There's a place where when you're walking on the floor, you would think that it is floor, but actually it would be water because it would be so clear. It would be like a marble water. And Duryodhana by mistake stepped inside that, and everyone, even the servants there, even the maids there had to, secretly laugh. So such was the place, and Duryodhana was feeling very, very humiliated. One day, what happened? He was walking around in the sabha, and he thought it is a door, and he banged himself on the door, thinking that it is a door, but it was not a door. And so, everyone were secretly laughing because they know the Duryodhana will be humiliated. But Bhima, do you think he was walking around with Duryodhana? He was laughing heartily. For him, he got a chance to laugh at Duryodhana. So he was laughing, but Yudhishthira was going on showing eyes like, don't laugh, don't laugh. But Bhima, Arjuna couldn't control their laughter. Even Draupadi couldn't control the laughter when she was looking from her chambers. And when she laughed, my God, this laughter of Draupadi was too much for Duryodhana. He couldn't take this humiliation. Already there was fire burning in him, and already the jealousy burning in him. And imagine what happens. And that when he went back to Hastinapur, he was going on thinking, what is this? These Pandavas looks like they are in the favor of God itself. They were here in the palace. They were like, they didn't have anything. They were as Brahmins roaming around in the forest. And look at them now. Yudhishthira has become, an emperor now. And what am I doing? He was so upset about it. He even talked to Karna. Karna was always saying, you don't worry. We will kill all of them. We will kill Arjuna. I will kill Arjuna. I will give you back that Indraprastha. Karna was always into fighting. That was the thing of Karna. He would always wanted to fight. But Shakuni had a very, very wicked plan. He wanted to told Duryodhana, let's call Yudhishthira for a game of dice, and then I would get you. And Duryodhana was getting carried away with all these things, because for him, he wanted the destruction of Pandavas. And as you know, the dice game started. Yudhishthira didn't want to play this dice, but Shakuni went on prompting him. And what happens is when Dhritarashtra, the big father, what do you say, Doddappa, right? Doddappa of, or what do you say, he is the uncle of Yudhishthira, isn't it? When Dhritarashtra himself says, yes, Yudhishthira, you play, Yudhishthira cannot say no. So never think that Yudhishthira wanted to play the game of dice. No, it was Shakuni who went on prompting, you're scared, is it, Yudhishthira? Are you scared? You want to play it? After all, a game of dice. What do you think? And when the game of dice started happening, Yudhishthira lost his reasoning power. And finally, what happened? One thing started happening. Yudhishthira lost, and Duryodhana, aided with Shakuni, Karna, Dushwasana, everyone, when you start playing a game, how you get so much into that game, right? That was what happening. Duryodhana was all, that wickedness coming into such a level that even he addressed his seniors. Vidura there, his uncle was keeping on telling Duryodhana, keeping on telling Dhritarashtra, don't do this, don't do this. But what did Duryodhana? Did he have any respect towards his seniors? No chance. He said, you low born man, who are you to come and tell me all these things? You just be quiet. I have called him. I am playing the dice with the Pandavas there. So you better be quiet and stay remaining there. And my father, the king of Hastinapur, is not mentioning any word. Even Bhishma had no voice. Even Dronacharya, who was the guru of Duryodhana, once he grew up, no chance. No one had any chance to talk back to him because they all knew that there is no point in talking to a child who's already showing a tantrum. Because in the child is showing a tantrum, can you stop the child? No chance. And Duryodhana did such a wicked thing of dragging Draupadi, because Draupadi was also waged in the dice by Yudhishthira and Draupadi was also lost. And Duryodhana did the most meanest act of asking his brother to drag her into the court. A court, a gambling hall where women are not entered, not allowed, and such demeaning act which was done by Duryodhana. He even ordered that her clothes be removed. So that is the level of Duryodhana, the fall of Duryodhana, how the reasoning power of Duryodhana which has happened. And when this all happened, Bhima, he took the oath, that I would break your thigh. Because what did Duryodhana do? He started calling all kinds of words to Draupadi. You are a shameless woman. Why don't you just leave them? Come to me. Why don't you choose one of us as lords? We are your master. You leave all your 5 husbands. Anyway, you were leaving me. So you come to me. You become mine. Why don't you just come and sit on my thigh? That was the level of Duryodhana who had come down to this level. And Bhima took the oath that I will break your thigh. Without breaking your thigh, I am not going to see my forefathers in heaven. So this is how, after that, Duryodhana did one more dice game and then sent them to the forest. Again, the meanest thing to do. But during those 13 years when Pandava was there in the forest, he was actually a very good king. All the praja, all the people were actually appreciating that he was a good king. And he took his lessons in Gadayuddha, the Gada, from Balarama himself, the elder brother of Krishna himself. That was the level. And he was kidnapped. He wanted to, make fun of the Pandavas. So he wanted to go to the Pandavas who were staying in the forest and make fun. But see, when you're always wanting to do a bad thing, what happens? Something, because there is always Leela of God. And what happened? He got captured and he had to be rescued by Arjuna himself. Such was a humiliation which, Duryodhana felt. And he decided that a war has to happen. And who all were joining in his war? Dronacharya, Bhishma, Kripacharya, Ashwatthama. Such was the magnetic personality of Duryodhana that even Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, wanted to side his closest friend, that is Duryodhana. He never went to Pandavas because such was the personality of Duryodhana. Bhagadatta, one of the most important warriors, Bhurishrava, Shalya, Kritavarma, who is from of the Yadava army, from the army of Krishna, and Jayadratha. So he had 11 Akshauhinis, that is 11 armies there, 11 different set of armies ready to be going for the war. And before going to the war, he went to Krishna because he wanted to make sure that Krishna is his side. If he's his side, then what will happen? Everything will go. But the attitude of him going to Krishna was also very interesting because he went to Krishna. Arjuna also had gone there at the same time, but he wanted to go fast. It's like, you're waiting for a shop to open and you want to rush inside and say, I am first. That was a childishness of Duryodhana, that he saw that Krishna was lying down. He went straight away and went and sat next to the Krishna's head. He went and sat next to there and see how Arjuna is standing at the feet of the Lord, seat of the Bhagavan Krishna, and standing there and with Absolute humility. And look at Duryodhana, how he's standing. And when Krishna woke up, he saw Arjuna first. And Duryodhana immediately said, no, 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 see, I only came first, huh? Not him. I came first. So you are a person who follows the path of Dharma. So you please ask me. I have come to you for a boon. I have come to you, please. And Krishna immediately smiled. He said, I saw first Arjuna, but maybe you would have come. So I would take the wish of both of you. Arjuna, you tell me, uh, you want me to your side, but I will not carry a weapon. Or you want my entire Yadava army, the Narayanas there with you, who are most powerful, almost equal to me. Tell me. And what do you know what Arjuna will select? Arjuna selected that I want you, Krishna. I don't want anyone. And Duryodhana was absolutely excited. He was so excited. See, even then he did not know the grace of the Lord. He did not think that when Bhagavan Krishna is there with him, then what else? But that was not in his thought. He felt that, when the Narayana, when the Yadava army is there, then what? I am sure to win. I am sure to win. That was his way, his attitude is. Even when Bhagavan Krishna had come as peace messenger, no chance. Duryodhana was very, very rude. Even Bhagavan Krishna, when Duryodhana offered him food, he said, I do not relish food in the house of a person who's not righteous. I am the soul of the Pandavas. Oh, Duryodhana, you always ill-treated the Pandavas. You have always been unrighteous. How can I come and have food next? When Duryodhana had come to a level of blindness that he even wanted to imprison. He wanted to imprison Krishna himself. Bhagavan Krishna himself, he wanted to imprison. Can that happen? Do you think so? Can it happen? No. No chance. Bhagavan Krishna tried to tell Duryodhana for a last and final time. No use. Kurukshetra war was decided, and Bhishma was made as a commander of army. Even then, Duryodhana had less faith than Bhishma. He went on chiding him and saying, I know you will side the Pandavas. I know you will side the Pandavas. But look at the Yudhishthira here. Yudhishthira comes and takes the blessings of Bhishma. But Duryodhana didn't have that bhava. He said, come on, let's have the fight. So that was his attitude, always blaming Bhishmacharya. And finally, what happened? Bhishma fell. And the fear started happening. Duryodhana has started having that fear. Bhishma, the mighty Bhishma fell. Do I have a chance? But Radeya, Karna said, I am there with you. You don't worry. I will fight. I will give you back. So with Dronacharya as the commander of armies, again a very, very demeaning thing happened. These are all the acts of Duryodhana that even Abhimanyu, a young 15-year-old boy who had no weapons and was killed ruthlessly by six warriors of the Kaurava army. And Duryodhana was also part of it. He was watching all that. It was done in such an unrighteous manner. And Karna, finally, when Karna, his dearest friend, when he, died, that's it. That was the end of Duryodhana, that enthusiasm to live. Now, he was so shattered because he was not even shattered when all his 99 brothers had died, when his uncle Shakuni had died. But he was absolutely shattered when he came to hear that Radeya is no more. And he said that now when Radeya, my dearest friend, is no more, I don't have any love for the kingdom. I don't want the kingdom at all. I'm ready to give as gift to Yudhishthira itself. Do you think Yudhishthira will accept this as a gift after all the things he has given? So Radeya, his most dearest friend, he's almost, he's like, he is like, without him, he cannot live. He lost the purpose of living itself. He lost that he didn't want that kingdom which he was fighting for all this while. He didn't want any of the enmity with the Pandavas. He said, I don't want to live itself, but let me die as a Kshatriya. I will die as a Kshatriya. And finally, the fight with Bhima happened, and he fought bravely. He fought as a Kshatriya because he never wanted to die as a coward. That was the strength of the Duryodhana. But the strength of the Duryodhana was also clouded by all these things. And finally, as the oath of Bhima, Bhima broke the thigh of Duryodhana, and Duryodhana, lay in the battlefield. Krishna beautifully says, there is a tree growing in Hastinapura called Duryodhana. Its trunk is Radhaya, branches are Shakuni. Dushasana is its flowers and fruits, and the roots, the roots are very, very important. The roots are Dhritarashtra. Because the roots are most important. That gives you the seed of thought there. From there, Duryodhana erupted. From there, Duryodhana grew. That is why parenting is such an important thing. And what about in the side of Yudhishthira, in the goodness side? Yudhishthira is the tree, Arjuna is the trunk, Bhima is the branches, Nakula and Sahadeva are its flowers and fruits. And the roots of this tree of goodness is myself. That is who's myself? Bhagavan Krishna himself. So, oh Sanjaya, you tell me which tree will live through the storm called war and which will be thrown on the ground. You tell. So that was the downfall of Duryodhana. Duryodhana, from a childish jealousy, the envy, which grew up, which grew up into a tree and erupted into so many devious acts which he had done. And he forgot himself. He forgot what is right and what is wrong. Sometimes you forget, and he got carried away with his Shakuni, he got carried away with his brothers, and so many things. And Krishna, even given a chance once, even then, Duryodhana was so blinded that this was how he died as a Kshatriya, as a warrior, and Bhagavan Krishna had to give this punishment to Duryodhana. So the references I have taken from B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata serial so that you all feel connected. So don't misunderstand that why am I taking that, because B.R. Chopra's serial is outstanding. The dialogues are extremely good, and I'm sure you would be able to relate the characters of the serial. So I have taken so that you could have a pictorial view. Thank you so much. Over to Raghuramji. Let me stop the share. Thank you, Raghuramji.
Namaste to all of you. Thank you, Prabha. Wow. Both of you, Ramayana and Mahabharata, and huge epics they are there. And then you covered particularly the characters of controversy. And these are the Ravan and also Duryodhana. Duryodhana is called as. Actually, Duryodhana did not mean actually bad. He was somebody who was supposed to be a tough battler. The battle that he is the toughest person. That is the idea that he was. But later on it became like, you say, Duryodhana. That means to say an evil character. So both of them, they had opportunity to take towards good. There were several occasions, but then they did not turn towards good. Particularly when Ravana wanted to bring Sita, and then he wanted the support of Maricha. And he goes to Maricha because Maricha had earlier encounter with Rama. And in Ramayana, there is a very beautiful way that he presents it. Valmiki, when he goes to Maricha, earlier Maricha, he describes Maricha as a Rakshasa. And second time, when Ravana approaches Maricha, then there, Valmiki writes, Maricha, he is a Mahayogi, great Purusha. So like that. That means to say there is a change that has occurred. In the perception of Maricha, that change occurred. And that was something which is very unique. But then Ravan, in spite of the fact that when he went there, Maricha said that, yes, my experience with Rama, you just don't know what Rama is. He thinks that he is a human being who is coming. That's what Shurpadaka said. But then he's not just a human being. And then he gives his account. After giving an account, he says at the end of it, there is one thing which is very beautiful. He said, Subahu he killed, but Maricha, me, that he just kicked me and left me alive. Probably there was a purpose in that because you should be educated about him. You should know what Rama is. And then Maricha says that anything that I hear in the name of Ra, that means to say it is Ratna, Ravi, Rashmi, anything Ra comes, I'm shuddered. And that means to say I'm frightened. Even in my middle of the dream, if a word Ra comes, I'm reminded of Rama. That is the way that Rama has been in my life. So that means to say, actually, he was doing the japa for Rama all the time in some form or the other. So that is why our people say that whichever way that you think of Rama, and that's what basically the way that you acquire that. Even Ravana also, very interesting incident that Mandodari, she comes to Ravana and says that Ravan, after all, you know that what is Sita after, and Sita loves Rama. And then you go every time to Sita with, he had a Icha Rupi. That means you go in various forms. One day you go in the form of Kubera, one day you go form of Indra, one day you go in the form of something to see that she is attracted. But every time you go there, she knows that it is Ravan. So therefore, she doesn't even turn towards you. She knows what she can like. So therefore, why don't you become like Rama and then go there? She likes you. He laughs and he says that, do you think that I can go like Rama? In fact, if I have to become like Rama, or Rama's Rupa, if I have to take, I have to contemplate on the Rupa of Rama. And if I contemplate on Rama, then I can only do one thing, that I will go to Sita and bow in front of her and then ask for her pardon and then take her back respectfully and then hand it over to Rama. Because I can never become an evil if I even think for 1 minute about Rama. See, that means he knows where the key is. He knows what is the way that he can become a better person. But then look at the way that even though the compulsion was so much in him about the vasana, about the kama, running after that short happinesses, that he would not go beyond that. That was an unfortunate thing about Ravan. That's the reason why Rama says at the end of it to Lakshmana, say, he's a great person. The wonderful ideas are there. But only thing is that he is driven by the senses, and go to him and get the good message. Janami dharmam nachame pravrittihi, janami adharmam nachame nivrittihi. I know what is right, but I don't know how to follow it. I don't know what is wrong. But my compulsions drive me towards that. This is what Duryodhana said. This is what Ravana said. So both of them have similar kind of an idea. In fact, in Mahabharata also, such a beautiful incident at one point of time when Shakuni was asked, said, what is all this fight about? Why are you doing all this kind of thing? Like that, Karna, he asked Shakuni and said, are you not doing something wrong with this whole Kauravas by being on the side, creating the war in the family and all that? And you yourself came from outside and you created this kind of an atmosphere. At that point of time, Shakuni says so beautifully that it's not the war between Kauravas and Pandavas. It's the war between me and Krishna. See, this is a very important statement that Shakuni said. Why it is said like that? He said because of two reasons. One reason is that Shakuni is always a evil planner. That means what is the way that one can create suffering to the other? Sadistic. It's a very negative kind of a feeling that he has. And till the last moment, in fact, at the end of it also, Shakuni, when he almost like he died, he did not have energy, and then Shatrughna at that time, he was feeling that, yeah, I have removed Shakuni. But then Shakuni suddenly gets into consciousness and takes out his sword and rushes towards him. So that kind of an evil person he is till the end. And because that he was poisoning the mind of Duryodhana, And Duryodhana did what he did with the support of that evil fellow, Shakuni. So, in that sense, that Pandavas are guided by Krishna and Kauravas are guided by Shakuni. And look at the whole lot of difference between whose guidance is working and who is behind who. This is something which is very important to note, that it's not only that you have good intentions, but we should always have what is called as the good company around us, good surroundings, good people, and then who can advise good. There are two types of people who are there. One kind of people are the people, this is what in Ramayana Balambika says, you are surrounded by the people who always praise you. Be careful, because they may not be right all the time. Don't surround yourself by the people who praise. Also have the people who can criticize you, who can do the right thing. And that's what Ravana did not do it. There were at least three people who tried to help him to see that he is in the right direction. And the first one is Maricha, who said that go in the right direction. He did not hear. Second is Vibhishana, very clearly said to Ravana, his own brother. And not only he said, but he felt so sad going away from his brother. He cried. Ravan did not cry. And Vibhishana cried. Even at the end of it, when Ravan died, Vibhishana was there by his side, could not control his tears, because after all, behind that evil Ravan, he was seeing the virtuous Ravan, great Ravan that was there behind. That's why at the end of it, he says, my dear brother, you didn't hear me. You didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to the ideas. But I'm not crying for that. I'm crying for I lost wonderful brother. And the third person who really tried to help him was Mandodari. She also, right from the beginning, was by the side of Ravan, supporting him, but at the same time, cautioning him, advising him to be in the right direction. But then he did not hear. Whereas Duryodhana on the other side, such wonderful people constantly advising him all the time with him. How can you think of somebody who is surrounded by persons like Bhishma, Drona, and then Kripacharya? Of all the persons, a great person is Vidura. There's so many wonderful people around. Still, Duryodhana did all that what is supposed to be not to be done. And that's what is the way that destiny takes us. So therefore, it's very important that whether in the garden of God's garden, are you going to take the flowers or are you going to take the thorns? And the more and more that you take the thorns, the more and more that you are into suffering, you are into trouble. Evil has in the beginning success, but on a long run, that does not pay. What pays is that your goodness, your good ideas, your good values. This is what is the way. Look at the way that Rama and Mahabharata, two extraordinary epics, two extraordinary stories. They are eternal literature in this particular culture. You take these literature, you can always find that what is the right way that the people guidance will be there, direction will be there. I always feel that we should have really based our constitution, not only constitution, all our governmental directions that are there on the basis of Ramayana, Mahabharata. We could always have had this country, which is given such great epics, guided in the right direction with these things. We would not have given support to Ravanas and also Duryodhanas that are there. 100 children were there for Gandhari, but she was blind. And for the blindness of husband, she supported him. He was the person who ruled the country the maximum at that time of all the Pandavas. But then look at what happened. He lost all the 100 children. That means to say basically that more children are there, more opportunity for you to see that you grow, you be saddened. So what is more important than this? We should have the right direction, right guidance, right way, right company. These are all the things that Ramayana and Mahabharata teach us. They're extraordinary, wonderful ideas. The evil characters we see, not as an evil characters, but the way that they are evil influenced characters. Otherwise, people are wonderful. The direction is something which really creates all that. What we really need to do is to see this Katha Saptaha that we make use of, to see that a few good values, few good company that we select and move in that direction. Thank you so much for that wonderful lectures that we had today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raghuramji, for sharing your insights as always. It's wonderful to hear, hear you speaking and giving the wrap up. So I'm sure everyone here are also enjoying the wrap ups as well as the insightful stories. So let's sit straight, close our eyes, reflect upon what all interesting things were talked, what all brought about the downfall, and introspect on yourself today. Maybe in the evening after dinner, you could sit quietly for some time and understand yourself and understand what all things are clouding your mind. Let's close the session. Breathe in. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Let us all surrender to the Almighty, surrender to the Bhagavan Krishna and Bhagavan Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Simply blink open your eyes. Thank you, everyone.